So he gave each of them a gift box with a surprise inside. Steve was pretty excited. He tried to peek through the wrapping, but couldn't tell what was inside. He shook the package to see if he could figure out what was inside. Finally, he ripped the package open, and inside was a red rose. Denise was also very curious about her present. She balanced it on her head to see if it was heavy. It wasn't. She tossed it in the air to see if it would break. It didn't. Finally, she too ripped open her package, and inside was a beautiful red rose. God spoke to his children. For years, guys and girls have been very confused about each other. They needed a special gift, a present from me to show how much I value them. So I gave them their sexuality. Your roses, Steve and Denise, are symbols of that sexuality. Treasure them and care for them so that when you marry, you'll have a special gift to give your husband or wife for the rest of your life. So Steve and Denise hid their roses in safe places. Denise met some guys. Sometimes she'd get other girls to go out on group dates with her and the other guys. They'd often go out eating or dancing. All in all, Denise and the girls had a pretty good time. Steve spent a lot of time with the girls. Sometimes he'd get a group of guys together and they'd serenade the girls while kneeling on one knee. Other times, the guys would show off for the girls by flexing their muscles. The girls always oohed and awed appreciatively. Then one day, Steve picked out a special girl from among the other girls. They started going out, and pretty soon, were seeing each other often. All the guys, girls, and Denise whispered to one another that Steve and this girl would get married. Once, while they were out on a date, this girl asked if Steve would give her his rose. She was tempted, but he remembered what God had said about saving it for his wife. So he refused. The girl cried and threw a fit, but Steve refused. That night, Steve and the girl broke up. The next day, all the girls were whispering about Steve. Some said he was gay. Others said he was stupid. The guys all laughed at him, but he knew he'd done the right thing. Meanwhile, Denise picked out a certain guy from among the other guys. They dated for several months, too. Then Denise's boyfriend asked for her rose. At first, she refused, but he seemed so hurt and sad that she felt sorry for him. After all, she thought, he loves me and will probably get married someday. So she gave him her rose. He took the rose and accidentally bent the stem. Before long, all he cared about was Denise's rose. He rarely talked to her anymore. They broke up during their senior year because the guy found someone new. In time, other guys asked for Denise's rose too. Some pulled off a few petals. A few more bent the stem. And yet another ripped the rose bare. Time passed, and Denise began to long for her rose to be like it once was, like new again. But try as she might, she couldn't get her rose to look as it had when God gave it to her. Then she started going out with Steve. They dated for some time, but Steve never asked for her rose, even though she expected him to. Finally, the day came when they walked down the aisle to be married. For a wedding present, Steve gave Denise his rose and was proud he'd kept it in such good condition for her. How do you think Denise felt when she gave Steve her rose?